This is Chapter 9 from What Was the San Francisco Earthquake? It begins on page 68. Chapter 9's title is called Hope. April 19th, afternoon and evening. On Thursday afternoon, the lines along Market Street to the ferry grew even longer. People were desperate to get to Oakland. There was no room for possessions on the ferry, so they had to leave everything behind. Still, one man brought a trained rat. He said it was like his son. The ferry operator let him bring it along. In one line was Enrico Caruso. He had paid a man $300 to carry him to the ferry in a wagon. Now, he showed his picture of President Roosevelt to the ferry operator. "I am Enrico Caruso, the friend of your president," Caruso said. "I must leave the city at once." The operator looked him over. "If you're Caruso, prove it," he said. "Sing." Earlier, Caruso had feared the earthquake had damaged his voice. Now, he had to sing for his life. So he took a deep breath and began to sing one of the arias from Carmen. People standing nearby applauded. "That's Caruso, all right," one of them said. "Let him on the boat." So the picture of President Roosevelt proved to be his ticket to safety after all. Another ferry passenger was Hazel Yardley. She was still showing around the picture of her missing daughter. A policeman had told her that homeless children were in a refugee camp in Oakland. When Hazel arrived, she came to a tent where a young couple was cooking stew. After they saw the picture, the husband went inside and carried out a sleepy little girl. It was Annie Yardley, safe and sound. The couple had found her after the earthquake and brought her along with their own children. Mrs. Yardley was Catholic, and the couple was Jewish. Together, they gave thanks that Hazel's prayers had been answered. Back in San Francisco, the firefighters were weary. Most had worked without sleep for almost 2 days. Some of them dropped where they stood and had to be carried off. Many firehouses had burned down, and hundreds of firefighters were now homeless too. But they finally had water. They were able to pump 1,000 gallons of water a minute out of the bay. The fire department of Oakland came to help out. The wind changed course. That was a good sign. It blew the flames back over areas that had already been burned. But much of the city remained ablaze. As night fell, the flames still lit up the sky. No one felt safe. Romance in disaster. San Francisco had a large fleet of fishing boats, many of them starting to take people across the bay. On one boat were Giuseppe Aliato and 13-year-old Domenica Lazio. The two became friends and 10 years later were married. In 1968, their son Joseph Aliato became mayor of San Francisco. Mayor Aliato was responsible for a citywide plan to prepare for the next major earthquake.